this is an iHeart podcast. Guaranteed human.
The springtime thaw is finally here. Flowers are blooming. Days are longer. We're saying yes to more plans and finally getting outside, running, walking, just moving again. It's the perfect time to upgrade your everyday go-tos with Bombas. Take Bombas sport socks. They're super comfortable and designed with sport-specific tech for running, cycling, yoga, hiking, you name it. I use them to run in, and I can tell you they work beautifully. So head over to bombas.com and use code SYSK for 20% off your first purchase. That's BOMBAS.com, code SYSK at checkout. Hey there, and welcome to Short Stuff. I'm Josh Clark. There's Charles W. Chuck Bryant, and there's Jerry Jerome rolling over there. Yeah.
The only reason you stopped that note is because you saw me draw it to a close like a conductor.
Yeah, I know. You conduct me.
Ooh, that's a T-shirt. So this is a follow-up, everyone. We do these occasionally. About 5-ish years ago.
5.5-ish.
5.5-ish. We did
5 3/4.
We did a full-length episode on the Roanoke colony, the creepy, spooky Croatoan mystery of Roanoke.
Man, so good.
And in it, we spent just a few minutes talking about the Dare Stones, but when I went back and listened to it again, we didn't go into nearly enough detail, and so we're going to do that right now.
We are. So just to kind of bring you guys back up to date real quick.
Roanoke was an island.
It is, and it still is, as a matter of fact,
That's
off
right.
of North Carolina, near the North Carolina-Virginia border. It was the first attempt, I believe, at an English colony. There was a first wave in 1585 that didn't work out, and then a second wave, or maybe it was even the third wave, technically, came along in July of 1587. And this ship carried 90 men, 17 women, and 11 children, and it was led by a guy named John White, who was named the governor of the, I guess, Roanoke colony. And he had his daughter, Eleanor Dare, with him. She was married to Ananias Dare. I think that's how you say that, don't you?
That's a great 16th century name.
It sure is. And Ananias, I just want to say that all the time.
Yeah.
And Eleanor had a baby, the first English baby born in America, whose name was Virginia Dare.
Now, do you know if they did it in America? Was this conceived in America or just born in America?
I don't know. I don't know, actually.
I'm just kind of curious. It doesn't really matter because what really matters is this was the first English baby born in the New World, and it was a very big deal for little baby Virginia to come along.
It was. So in short order, Virginia's grandfather, John White, the head of the colony, says, hey, guys, I'm kind of bored. I'm going to go back to England and I'll get some supplies. I'll be back within a year. You guys sit tight. Just keep building this colony up and it'll be all good. BRB.
Right, but he did not BRB. He beed a long time from coming back.
Right.
And about 3 years worth, comes back, and no one's there. His daughter's gone. His little Virginia's gone. Yep. Everybody's gone. The buildings are dismantled. And as you learned in that episode, the word Croatoan was carved, and that was I guess it was a tree, right? Yeah,
they carved it into a tree. And Croatoan was the name of a friendly nearby tribe that the English had been in contact with.
That's right. So what was not there was a cross. And White said, hey, listen, if there's, some bad stuff going on and you guys have to split, just to take some time to carve a cross into a tree so I'll know that bad stuff happened. That cross was not there, so there's always been a big mystery about what Croatoan was all about, why there was no cross, and what happened to the 118 settlers.
That was it. That was the sum total of the evidence. And John White asked around a little bit. Didn't try all that hard to find them, actually, for it being his daughter, his son-in-law, and his granddaughter.
And the first American.
Missing. Right, exactly. First English American.
Sure.
You want to get us killed?
Yeah.
So he goes back to England, and the mystery just sets in. When Jamestown settlers come along, they ask around. They hear rumors of tribes that are made up of light-skinned people who speak English and live in 2-story thatched roof houses, but none of it is ever confirmed. There's no evidence whatsoever what happened to these lost colonists at Roanoke. And that's the way it was for 350-ish years until the summer of 1937, when a guy from California named L.E. Hammond, which, as I've found, is not to be confused with La Hammond Inferno, which is a synth band that I came across today accidentally.
Are you into them now?
Kind of. They're pretty good. His name was actually Lewis Hammond, but he was a produce dealer from California, and he showed up at Emory University and said, "Hey, I'm on vacation in North Carolina with my wife looking for hickory nuts, as you do.
Sure.
And I found this weird stone. What do you guys make of this thing?"
Yeah, so Emory's right here in Atlanta, and it was inscribed and with a message, and he said, "Can you guys tell me what this says?" And I'm going to read it right now in full.
Good.
This is the sort of, modernized version.
Yeah.
Because it's sort of like reading Geoffrey Chaucer or something.
Right.
So it has to get translated. So here's what it said. "Father, soon after you go for England, we came here. Only misery and war for 2 years, above half dead. These 2 years, more from sickness, being 24. A savage with a message of a ship came to us. Within a small space of time, they became frightened of revenge and ran all away. We believe it was not you. Soon after, the savages said spirits were angry. Suddenly, they murdered all save 7. That means all but 7.
Mm-hmm.
My child and Ananias too were slain with much misery." Is there any other way to be slain, is my question. "Buried all near 4 miles east of this river upon a small hill. Names were written all there on a rock. Put this there also. If a savage shows this to you, we promised you would give them great plenty presents."
Right.
So there you have it.
Yep. And it was signed
Mystery solved, right?
EWD Eleanor White Dare.
That's what you would think.
Yeah, and so the Emory professors are like, "Where did you get this? You may have just solved like a 350-year-old mystery." And Lewis Hammond was like, "I don't know, somewhere about 50 miles inland." And they went, "What did you just say?" He said, "I don't know, about 50 miles from Roanoke Island." And they said, "Well, John White, the governor, famously reckoned that the Roanoke colonists had moved 50 miles into the Maine. So that would definitely coincide with that idea." So they went back to this area where Lewis Hammond found this rock, and they could not find the spot. He couldn't find the spot where he originally found it to show them. But he left it with them. I think sold it to him, I think is more accurate, and then went back to California and was scarcely heard from again.
That's right. So we're going to take a break. We're going to come back and tell you, as Paul Harvey would say, the rest of the story.
Stuff you should know.
Hey, everybody, we want to talk to you about The Big Bang Theory. That's a show that became one of the most defining sitcom of its era and really built a fan base around its memorable characters and unique group dynamic.
That's right, which is why we think you'll enjoy the official Big Bang Theory podcast. It's back, covering seasons 3 and 4 of the show. Host Jessica Radloff sits down with crew and cast members like Kunal Nair, who plays Raj, Mayim Bialik, who plays Amy, and Kevin Sussman, who plays Stuart.
That's right. You're going to learn all about the Easter eggs you may have missed, behind-the-scenes stories, and how certain real-life relationships shaped some of the most memorable storylines.
Yeah, there's cast reflections years after the series aired and expanded content around famous episodes and storylines. It is exactly what you're looking for if you're a fan of The Big Bang Theory. The season is on video, so watch the official Big Bang Theory podcast on HBO Max, or listen wherever you get your podcasts, and stream episodes of The Big Bang Theory on HBO Max. The springtime thaw is finally here. Flowers are blooming, days are longer. We're saying yes to more plans and finally getting outside, running, walking, just moving again. It's the perfect time to upgrade your everyday go-tos with Bombas. Take Bombas Sport Socks. They're super comfortable and designed with sport-specific tech for running, cycling, yoga, hiking, you name it. I use them to run in, and I can tell you they work beautifully. So head over to bombas.com and use code SYSK for 20% off your first purchase. That's BOMBAS.com, code SYSK at checkout.
So here's the deal with that original stone. Depends on who you talk to. Some people say it was authentic. Some people still say it's authentic and may have solved the mystery. Some people say, no, it was not. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. But what happened was the whole country started talking. There was a professor at Emory named Haywood J. Pierce Jr.
Nice.
Who published that paper, published a paper talking all about this stone in the Journal of Southern History in 1938. He had his father, Haywood J. Pierce Sr.,
Dad.
and Daddy owned a college, Brenau University, which is in Gainesville, Georgia. Now it was Brenau University now, I think.
Brenau now. Catch the fever.
That's probably on a shirt somewhere. So they started to have suspicions because, like you said, when they went back, they couldn't really find exactly where he found it. They got a private investigator or somebody in California to look into this Hammond guy, and they really couldn't find much to corroborate a story or even who he said he was other than his name and address. I
saw an internet sleuth explained it by saying, you know what, this guy was married before. In a 1920 census, he has 2 children, and by 1937, they were still underage. So he may have been laying low and keeping away from publicity so he wouldn't pay child support.
Oh, interesting.
I thought that was a clever, interesting explanation for it. Because what I found was there was nothing to indicate that this guy was actually a fraud, just that they couldn't really follow up with him very easily.
Yeah, but at the very least, Pierce and Pierce were still very intrigued by this original stone and said, here's a reward offered for any additional stones that pop up, $500.
Yeah. And
all of a sudden, people are like, oh, I got some stones. You want to give me $500? I'll show you some dare stones.
Right.
Specifically, a man named Bill Eberhart, who was an artist. He was a stonecutter from Fulton County, right here in Atlanta.
Yeah.
And he was paid $2,000 for 42 forgeries that he turned over as dare stones.
And it's not like they said, hey, thanks for these forgeries, here's some money. They thought they were real at the time. But on the stones, the series of stones, it basically tracks Eleanor. It's like Eleanor's little breadcrumb diary.
Yeah.
That goes all the way down to Georgia, almost to Atlanta. And along the way, she marries a chief from the Cherokee tribe, has another daughter named Agnes, possibly like becomes romantically entangled with Tom Hanks over email for a little while, and then ends up dying in a cave in Georgia.
I just love the idea of this stonecutter like inventing this storyline, you know?
Right. He's like, this is the life I wish I had had.
You could have been a screenwriter, Bill Eberhart.
Yeah. I wonder he's got to have family here still. This was just like the late 30s in Fulton County.
Oh, man. I hope somebody's listening.
They're like, stop talking about my Uncle Bill like this.
I think it's great.
He's a
Your
good
Uncle
man.
Bill's awesome.
I guess.
All right. So this is flash forward to 1941 in April. The Saturday Evening Post said, you know what? These Norman Rockwell covers are great.
Right.
But what we really want to do is run an expose on these dare stones and basically shut it down as a complete forgery. Yeah.
They did some real legwork to just totally undermine the dare stones, which really kind of goes to point out how much the dare stones had totally captured the imagination of the entire country.
Yeah.
This was a big, widely publicized deal. And the Saturday Evening Post came along and said, no, look at this crack and this crack and this crack. And basically, by the end of the article, had just completely revealed the whole thing as a hoax. And definitely everything after that first one that Lewis Hammond found is most decidedly a hoax. At best, the Lewis Hammond stone is, like you were saying, up for debate. But the Saturday Evening Post said, no, there's anachronistic language in there. Things like reconnoiter would not have been used. There's a problem with the fact that they used Arabic numerals, which didn't come into use until later on. It's weird that she made like V's instead of U's, which is kind of like Roman lettering a little bit. And at the time when the Saturday Evening Post dropped this article, it was like, oh, well, that's it. It's a total fraud and a total hoax. But as the years kind of went by and Brenau University suffered a tremendous public relations crisis as a result of this, a lot of people looked really bad for verifying these stones as authentic and then just being totally undermined by the Saturday Evening Post. Brunel and everyone related to the stones almost literally buried them away in a basement and then later on in an attic in Brunel and tried to forget about it as much as possible.
Yeah, Pierce and Pierce had egg on their face, and it was no good. But people today say, again, that it's possible that first one might be, like, for real. It's different rock than these other ones.
Right.
It's this white, really bright white quartzite interior and has a dark exterior. So it would have been something really good, like almost like a chalkboard for her to use. So that sort of makes sense. And it doesn't have this anachronistic language that those other stones do. The sign-off is a little weird with EWD because that's probably not what she would have done in the 16th century.
Right.
Other people say, no, it's still that Chowan River stone is a phony. And what they're hoping is that modern techniques can kind of test this thing out at some point and see if it's in fact legit.
Yeah, because it's basically been cleared by a lot of the humanities people. Like there's an expert in medieval graffiti who said, this actually checks out pretty well. Here's an example of somebody using Arabic numerals. Here's an example of somebody signing their name in this kind of abbreviation. So a lot of it's been explained away. And the fact that it is white quartzite, that when she carved it, like you said, it would have been like a chalkboard, that would be a terrible stone for a forger to choose because you would have to go to tremendous amounts of trouble to fake it, basically. You'd just choose a different stone. So the fact that it would have been really hard to forge, and they tried at the time of the Saturday Evening Post article to forge it 3 different ways, and nobody could do it, really lends a lot of credence to it keeps hope alive that this first stone, the original stone, is actually real.
That's right.
So maybe we'll find out one day as our technology advances what happened to the original colonists at Roanoke, or that this stone says exactly how it happened.
That's great. I hope so.
All right, Chuck, you got anything else?
I got nothing else.
Well, that is it for short stuff, everybody. Oh, wait, Jerry, you got anything else? Okay, well, that's it for short stuff, everybody. You can read a really great article on the Dare Stones on how stuff works, and you can listen to our original Roanoke episode, too, at stuffyoushouldknow.com. And in the meantime, we'll see you next time. Short Stuff out.
Stuff You Should Know is a production of iHeartRadio's How Stuff Works. For more podcasts from iHeartRadio, visit the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows.